Hey, so it's been about 5 weeks since the last update, so thought it was about time to get another one in. Probably a bit longer than I was hoping, but just trying to find the time and trying to get the time in a long run to actually get one of these things recorded. So I'll give you some updates as I go through this run. So I'm planning to do about 3.5 hours today, which will be the longest run that I've done since the Mont Blanc Marathon last year, just through injury and everything else. So I'm hoping 3.5 hours. I'm guessing that'll be somewhere between 18 to 20 miles, something like that. Bit of flat at the start and the finish, and then some hills, as you can see here. Greenway Lane, one of my faves. Just to sort of mix it up a little bit. I've had a couple of decent weeks of training, but I'll update you later on in the video about those. So like I was saying earlier, I had a couple of decent weeks of training. I did the virtual Lakeland 50 and 100 event last week. Entered the 50. I was actually entered in for the 100, the real event this year, but because of COVID, that was postponed until next year. So I've still got a place in that for next year, if everything goes to up to Swanee with Western States, because I'm still not quite sure, looking at how things are in America, whether by June next year, A, whether we'll be able to travel, and B, there's likely to be, well, I'm making the assumption there might be some sort of quarantine when we get back, just because it doesn't seem to be particularly well under control in America at the moment. So who knows, if Western States falls over, I've always got the Lakeland 100 to fall back on next year, and what a great event to be able to fall back on. So I did the 50 last week. I did 50 miles over the course of the week, which was my biggest weekly mileage for quite some time, probably quite some years. It was all flat, so in terms of time it was probably, I think it was about 8 hours through the week, which I guess is a normal sort of week with training time really, but it was good just to get some big miles under my belt. Yeah, and this week I went out to the Forest of Dean on Wednesday, did a couple of hours scouting a route called the Gloucestershire Way, which is something that I'm planning on doing in a few weeks' time as a bit of a training and adventure thing that I've decided I want to do. The route goes from Tewkesbury all the way, it's basically about 100 miles from Tewkesbury through to Chepstow in South Wales, but I'm going to do the second half of it, which pretty much goes past my front door. So Cheltenham down to Chepstow in a self-supported fashion, so picking up supplies and things on the way. So I'm doing that in about 5 weeks' time. So just wanted to go down to the Forest of Dean and scout the route, and it was pretty choppy in places. The route isn't anything like a national trail, it's more like footpaths, and I'm actually on the Gloucestershire Trail here now, so some of it's really good, some of it's quite poor trail, but that's all part of the adventure. And just trying to get some sort of focus in for the rest of the year, because with all the events being cancelled, it's been quite difficult to get motivation. The other thing that I've been doing this week is trying out a new pair of shoes, the Nike Pegasus Trail 2, which are these bad boys. And so far they've been pretty good. The cushion is really good. They've got the React midsole, and it is a really nice midsole, and the upper's really nice. There's loads of room in the toe box. It's a really good shoe. The only problem I'm finding is it's really difficult to lock down the heel. I'm having to stop and adjust, and it's difficult to get a good heel lock, even with the using the top loops to try and lock it down. So not sure whether these are going to be a Western States shoe, if I'm honest. The tongue is like a neoprene tongue. It's very thin, so to get the lock down you really got to pull the laces quite tight, which then puts pressure over the top of your foot. So don't know, I'm testing them out on a long run today to see how they go. I'll probably get about 600 meters of vertical over this route, but I think it'll be the downhills that make these shoes quite tricky to get a proper feeling. So I might be back to the Speed Goats at this rate, or the Torrents. I know the Torrents are a trusty shoe, I've used them loads before, but if I could get a good lockdown in these shoes, they are really good.